Hello everybody and welcome back to Jaffa Cooks, and today I'll show you how to make a traditional shepherd's pie. This is my version of shepherd's pie that's eaten in my house. I'm going to start off with mince. You can start off with beef cubes and then cook them down and then shred them and then make your own version of it that way. But shepherd's pie is something that kids will come up and say, "Dad, I want shepherd's pie," and then I'll put something together. And with usually about half an hour, it's pretty much ready. Okay, so just before we start, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I'd love you to do so. Click on the bell icon for the latest updates and recipes. Give this a go, share with your family and friends, and if you really like it, give me a great thumbs up. Okay, so ingredients: lamb mince. Doesn't have to be very lean, but not too fatty would be best. I've got some vegetables, carrots and peas, which I'll put in later on. And again, just the usual ingredients, some onions, garlic, salt, pepper, and I'm using mixed herbs within my version. Others I've seen use thyme as well, but mixed herbs is what we use in our household. So I'm going to hop over to the hob. So I'm going to start off with browning the meat with the garlic and onions and the salt and pepper and the mixed herbs. And then later on we'll introduce the vegetables, put it together, bit of stock, let it simmer, and then we'll top it off with some potatoes that I'm going to mash that are already on the hob as well now. So let's move over to the hob. Okay, just before we start, I've got the potatoes on the hob, and potatoes should be at the point where your toothpick or your fork goes straight in and comes straight out, so they should be really ready. And then we'll mash those up and top it over the mixture of the shepherd's pie. So 2 tablespoons of olive oil, medium heat, and I'm just going to pop in the onions and the garlic. Okay, so at this stage, low to medium heat, sweat off the onions. Don't want to brown them off, so if you see 1 or 2 of them browning off, reduce the heat. And I just want to basically make sure that they're nice and soft before I introduce the meat. A dash more olive oil, maybe another ½ teaspoon. So the next stage, I'm going to put in the lamb mince. Now you could use beef mince, lamb mince, even in certain households I've seen chicken mince being used as well. So entirely up to you. So I'm just going to try and break as much of this down. And when this is mostly browned off, I'll introduce the herbs. So I'm just going to introduce my mixed herbs. As the meat's nearly browned off, so I'll just introduce the herbs there. And you can actually smell the herbs now, releasing the aroma. So I'm just going to pour in my stock now, which is about 150 ml of stock. And then I'm just going to allow that to basically cook off for about another couple of minutes. And then I'll introduce the carrots. And if your kids don't like carrots or peas, this is a great way to introduce it back into their diet. I'm using frozen peas, and frozen are great because they basically go from picking basically straight to frozen once they've been processed, and it's usually within hours. So they're as fresh as they get. Now I'm going to give it another 5 minutes and that should pretty much be done. And then I'll take it off the pan and I'll show you, once I start mashing the potatoes, how to assemble this together. Okay, welcome back everybody. And now it's the time to put the potatoes, but before we do that we need to give them a good mash. So I've got some potatoes that were fully cooked. They've just come out off the pan, drained them, and here they are. I'm just going to introduce some butter, and I've got some cream there. And then I'll salt and pepper it as well at the same time. So just, I'm going to mash this up, put the butter in. And pour the cream in. Now you don't have to use cream, you can use milk if you want. But most of you who know, who've been on my channel for a while now, really probably understand and know that there's a lot of dietary requirements for my kids. So I'm using lactose-free milk. Lactose-free cream. But you can use regular milk or regular cream if you like. Potatoes are mashed. And I've got in here, instead of regular butter, I just want to tell you that I'm using stork, which is the alternative to regular butter. So it's a plant vegan-based product, and it's excellent in our house. And we use it for most cooking. Now, normal shepherd's pie wouldn't see cheese, but my little kids love cheese. So I'm using lactose-free cheese. I'm just going to sprinkle that within the potatoes, and then I'm just going to introduce that and mash that in further, and we're done. All I now need to do is introduce that back on top of the pie, or the filling, and then we're good to go. Put it in the oven and bake it for about 35 minutes at 180 degrees until it's nice and brown and golden on top, and ready to serve with some gravy and broccoli or green beans. Okay, so now it's just the layering of the potato now, so I'm just going to place the potato on top, and it should be more than enough potato in this. What we want to do is keep it rough, so I'll show you in a minute, when I use the fork to finish it off, it gives it the rough edges and the rough finish on top, and that's basically, when we cook it in the oven, the edges get nice and crispy. And then when you have that crispy and smooth gravy textures, that really does put a smile on a lot of people's faces. So I'm just going to pat this down now. Now, before I do this, I just want to actually show you. One of my kids just came running and said, "Dad, gravy. We want additional gravy." So I tend to put a hole in the middle, just like that. And then I'll come back in a minute and show you what to do with it. So just cover the potato evenly all the way around the edges. That's it really. Now what I'm going to do, so I've got a little bit of a hole there, so I'm just going to pour some of that gravy in there, and that should go in. I'm going to put another couple of holes. I'll put one more here. Another one there, another one there. I'm just going to pop some gravy in there, and this will basically get soaked back into the filling. It'll give you that extra juicy taste, and that's it really. All you've got to do now, cover the hole slightly, and then bake it at around about 180 for about 35 odd minutes until it's nice and golden. And what I'll do is I'll show you what it looks like once I'm ready to bring it out of the oven. I'll see you back in about 35 to 40 minutes.